let's start with which one you want to start with? Dating?
With dating. Here's what I will say. That the biggest problem I see in the Eastern community, and I have a lot of clients from India, Pakistan, everywhere in the world. The biggest problem they have is porn addiction. That's their biggest problem. And the reason they have it more than any other type of man, is that the average Western man, the women that he's seeing on porn sites resembles the women in his real world. So there's not that much of a distance between the woman that he Googled last night and the woman in the pub.
People will be against you with this one.
Oh well, it's not a huge gap, but they look like that. Now, an average man in India or in Pakistan is not good. There's not Indian Pakistani porn. Yeah, I hope not. There's not much of that. So what they're watching is Eastern European. They're watching blue-eyed Eastern European. They're watching Latina girls. They're watching all these like Chinese they're watching these women that are so different to the women that they've got access to in the real world. So it leads to intense erectile dysfunction for them. Like, so severe. So I'll meet men or women who have been married to maybe men in the Eastern continent and said, we haven't had sex in 4 years. He hasn't touched me in 5 years. He doesn't get an erection at all. So I think in that particular community, or the more Eastern you are, the more likely you are to suffer, because what you're watching is not going to resemble what you can access. So it's going to have a huge impact on your performance, and nothing kills your manhood faster than poor performance. In all of my work with so many men, the number one criteria, or the issue that they have, the one that suffer with a lot of women and keep getting manipulated, keep going to porn sites, keep going to escorts, is that they have a problem with their performance. They can't get aroused in some way because they've been overusing these stimulants. So once a man loses his arousal, he loses his dominance, and then he loses his masculinity, completely goes. So these men that can't get aroused in any way, they need a woman to dominate sexually. They need a woman to take control. They need the woman to kind of cause the arousal, because they don't know how to cause the arousal, because it's all broken for them. So they end up going to more prostitutes, escorts, all of these people, because they can't lead sexually anymore. So.
They build all their sex imagination on the websites and online. So all their sex life and mind is imaginary.
All imaginary. So you'll see that they desire something that's totally different to who they are. And that's one of the biggest signs, I would say, is that when you meet a man that is dating a woman who has no similar demographics, nothing in common with each other, it's a clear sign it's pornography or escorts that he's become addicted to. Because I'll meet men who are like 50, 60 years old, dating 22-year-olds. You've got nothing in common, just completely different race, different culture, can't speak the same language. And this is particularly common, unfortunately, in Dubai. They can't even speak the same language. She's sitting on the phone the whole time. They've got zero things in common. But the only thing that they have in common is she resembles the porns that he used to watch, or she resembles the escorts that he used to pay for. And that's the glue to their relationship. A healthy man will look for some similarity. Every man is going to want a younger woman. Absolutely they're more beautiful. This is just a fact of life. Younger women, every man will want a younger woman, but they still want some similarity. Like maybe they can have a conversation together, maybe they speak the same language, maybe they go in the same hobbies. But when they are able to forego all of the similarities and just focus on appearance and have nothing else in common, that's how you know he's severely addicted to porn and escorts.
But is it also the fact that a lot of men are getting rejection from female in general? I mean, we know the 80-20 rule of a lot of women are looking for the high value man and men from a certain standards, certain height, certain...
I would say that firstly, two things. Rejection is normal. Like for a man, it's part of your growing up process. You're going to get rejected. It's human nature. Everybody. This is not the end of the world. Second thing is, are you getting rejected from people in your league or out of your league? The problem that a lot of people are facing is they're trying to date people highly above them and then keep getting rejected and then get sick of it. So I'll meet men who are, maybe they're overweight or haven't looked after themselves, but they still want a pretty girl. She's not going to look at you or something like that. So I think the gap is not the amount of rejection, it's, are you targeting people who would not be interested in you? So I'll sometimes meet, I have one particular client that comes to mind, and he's aging, he's not particularly healthy or whatever it is, but he refuses to date women, he's nearly 50, he refuses to date women around his age because he's like, I want kids. But he's not they're not going to be wanting it. And then he says, I don't want it to be transactional. So you don't want a woman your age, you want her to be significantly younger, but you don't want to give money or anything. Why would a woman that's in her peak going to date you? Like, why aren't you sticking to what's good for you? So he'd rather stay single and die single, no kids, no nothing, than compromise his standards, even though he keeps getting rejected. He's definitely going to end up with escorts or porn. And I get it, I completely get it. But if you stay within your range, it's slightly easier to avoid rejection.
But I guess also the women are have more chance to have the man from different range, and so it's not really compatible, or it's not. There's no equality. Let's talk about the age of 20 to 30.
Yeah.
A lot of women can have 20% of the 80% of the men.
Yeah.
You know, which is like she can have any man she wants, kind of.
Yeah.
But just a few men can have. I don't think it's a matter of looking for
above your league. But not every girl is beautiful. Not every girl is beautiful. Beautiful girls have this luxury.
I don't think so. Any girl have the luxury of getting any guy.
You think so? Any guy to sleep with you, but not to commit to you.
But she doesn't want commitment when she's 20.
Maybe, yeah. In that
and
case,
that's the frustration, and that's the porn, and that's
that's
so even if a guy he wants a decent girl, which is an average for him, she's looking also for an 8+ or 10 or 9+ man.
But one thing I would say is men underestimate the power of flirting. What they don't realize is the better you become at flirting, charm, charisma, the cheaper women get. It's only men without those skills that really have to pay and really have to work hard and really have to struggle. And I mean, some men, they're young kids, whatever, they've just got a natural gift when it comes to women, talking to them. They walk into a club, by the end of that night, they've got with a girl. So I think what happens is men overestimate the power of money and status and underestimate the power of charisma and flirting and charm.
I agree with you.
If you can master those skills of flirting and charm, you'll meet the most beautiful girls that will say, oh, I dated that loser, but he's so funny. And I dated that broke guy, but he was so funny. And they'll say stuff like that, like, I can't believe I touched him, but he was so funny, he was so much fun, he was so lively, he was so this. So I think the power of charm goes far farther than any other skill set that men have to learn. I think if you really want to perfect your ability to get with men, is literally have confidence in your charm and flirting. And that it will always get better if you work out and you look after yourself. But this overemphasis on status comes from men that don't have charm and charisma. The more charm and charisma, the less status you need.
You talk about sex appeal a lot, and it's something that you can enhance and something that you can...
Absolutely. For both men and women. It's so...
easier for women.
Easier for women, of course, or everything in life. Yeah, a lot of things in life. But one thing, the reason I said this is it came to my realization that people don't realize that women would rather date an attractive, I don't know, personal trainer than Jeff Bezos or than Elon Musk and then Bill Gates. That's why these guys go to islands. I'm not saying that all of them do, but some of them go. That's why these guys go to islands, because what happens is majority of attractive, strong, youthful men can get lots of girls, and they will get more girls. I can guarantee the average, healthy looking man in Dubai in personal trainer probably gets more DMs than Elon Musk or Bill Gates has ever got in his life. And I thought that everybody knew this. I thought that's common sense. But there's some men out there that genuinely believe that, I don't know, somebody like Bill Gates will get more girls than a personal trainer. It's not possible, because he doesn't have sex appeal. He just doesn't have sex appeal. He can only get manipulating, kind of using women. That's the only type of women he can get, or geeky girls like him. No one else. Whereas a man with sex appeal can get any girl. It's simple. Yes, some girls are far more high maintenance, but they might still at least touch him or kiss him or do something. They might not end up with him, but they'll still do something with him. But the geeky kind of successful guys, no chance with the majority of women. So that's why I emphasize sex appeal more than anything else, because without it, you can't get a woman's attraction. And without a woman's attraction, you can't get her loyalty. Loyalty is directly correlated to how attracted she is to you. If she's not attracted to you, she can't be loyal to you. Doesn't mean she's going to cheat. She might just leave. But as a woman, attraction is far more important than any other trait, because we're not attracted to you, you're almost like a predator to us. We're like, you see you as a creep. The moment you're attractive and you say the same things, we'll see you as adorable. So you have to make sure you fall into that category if you want to have success with women.
But the look and the standard that the women are looking at is also that figure is drawn from the social media and from the movies and back then. Which it's actually 0.1% of men looks like Brad Pitt, you know. Which is hard.
But I think men underestimate that you don't have to be gorgeous. You just have to be masculine. So when I say sex appeal, you don't have to be gorgeous to have sex appeal. You just have to be masculine. And what I mean by masculine is you take care of your shape. Like you go to the gym, you look like you're strong. Any man that looks like he's weak and afraid, you're just not going to get as many women. Whereas if you look strong, automatically you're going to get more women. Outside of that, okay, fine, not every man is 6'5" or anything like that, but if you grow like a little beard or whatever it is, on the whole you'll be an attractive man. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to get in shape, grow a little beard, always look well kept and clean, and
confident and dominant. You mentioned
dominant
as well.
is really key. Yeah, really key, because it signals that you are strong, and it signals sex appeal. Like that's where it comes from. But weak, scared, it does the opposite. So even like when these blasts were going on in Dubai, there were some men that were like, I was just like, are you gay? Like, what's wrong with you? Just be normal. Like, I know it's not ideal, but you don't have to go panic and do that. So even though the women might be terrified, but when we see men overreacting, even though there's bombs, like there's a fair enough reason to overreact, something in us just goes, ugh, like,
he's not going to protect me.
Yeah, why are you panicking? Like in our head, it's like, you're
Stop being a bitch.
Stop being a bitch. Why are you gay? Like, stop panicking. Like, I remember having a couple of friends panicking, and I was just like, but you're a boy. Like, okay, if I panic, fine, no problem. I didn't panic, but if I did, even during COVID, there were so many men like terrified, masks, sanitized, and it's just like, as a woman, you can't help but naturally be like, ugh. Especially if she's around masculine men a lot, she loses attraction to that.
Do you think the education that also, I mean, we're trying to tell men to be more vulnerable, more, you know.
Yeah,
is it affecting the whole thing also in a negative way?
Absolutely, because all of the therapy is derived from American men and American psychologists and it's very ethnocentric, it's very American based. So their version of masculinity is actually femininity. So they think that you should be soft, you should know her love language, you should be obedient, you should be kind, you should be caring, let her don't ever infringe on her rights in any way, shape or form, all of those things. It makes men these really weak kind of men, like really, really not what other women around the world would appreciate. Other women around the world want provider, they want successful, they want hardworking, they want dominant, they want somebody that, you know, they can say to their kids, if your dad comes home, I'm going to tell him, and the kids would be like, oh, better behave. We're used to like stronger men. So the American therapy is teaching men to be weaker and weaker. The problem is it's spreading to everybody. So what ends up happening, if you speak to the average Russian woman and she's surrounded by a white American man, she'll eat him alive. She'll be like, what are you crying for? Are you a man? Like, don't cry. She'll eat him alive because she grew up in a culture where men would wrestle with bears. Like, they would go out in the blizzards. They would go out in the wars. So she just eats them alive. Like, she's like, what are you doing? Even if you speak to Latin women, they end up beating up their American husbands because they're like, why can't you be strong? They get so frustrated. And the hardest part to see is these Americans that follow all of those rules and be as obedient and soft and feminine and vulnerable as possible, they either get cheated on or beaten up by their girlfriends. Honestly, I've always seen like women either leave them and cheat on them or attack them, physically attack them, hit them for being too soft. Like, wake up, like do something. Because there's something in us that is repulsed by too much softness. We like a nice amount, a right amount where you show you care, but enough to also stand up against us and stand up for us and be strong. But if it's just weak and just submissive, we get super frustrated.
Yes, frustrated, nervous,
and aggressive
because you don't feel safe, and it's by nature.
And we shouldn't have to explain to you how to be a man. That's what we get frustrated about. Like, why can't you figure this out? So that's why I don't recommend following that advice, because I think it actually leads to you being more depressed than you realized.
Yes, I think we took it too far.
Yeah. There's a happy medium. I think obviously there's parts of the world that are way too strong and way too dominant. My father would probably fall into that, where he's just got no emotions, no nothing, no softness, all of that stuff. And then there's the American side that is way too soft and way too weak, and all. A happy medium would be the balance.
Yes,
ideally.
Sure.
And I would say that to find the happy balance, all you have to do is show care and consideration, but still control and leadership. So you make the decisions, but you listen to what she likes. So you might decide where you're going to live, what house you're going to buy, what time you're going to, like, where you're going to go, but you listen to her preferences. So take into account her feelings, her preferences. Don't be dominating and rude and be like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Listen to her preferences, but you make the executive decision, and then you've got the balance.
And this will lead also to another topic, which is like a high value man. You said they can't be, what's the word in English, with one woman.
Did I say that?
Did you say that?
I did not say that, but I did say one thing.
Faithful. That's the word.
No, I think, look, here's the thing. Faithful has nothing to do with how value you are. I don't think they're linked in any way, shape or form. You can be low value and really unfaithful. You can be high value and really unfaithful or faithful. I just think that in my work as working as a therapist is another thing that women get very angry about. I'm a Muslim woman, so I think very differently, but also my work has confirmed God is true. Only the Islamic God, by the way, but it's true. And I'll tell you why. No God who made man would suggest one woman for the rest of his life and nobody else. And I'll be honest with you, and I tell you that because our sex drives are not the same. Yeah, they're just simply not the same. You speak to the average 50-year-old or 40-year-old woman who's got 3 kids, how often she thinks about sex. Never, hardly. You get some, but those women, usually my experience is healthy women, their sex drive decreases and decreases and decreases as the longer she's in love with a man. So she might have met him at 20. By the time she's 28, her sex drive will be super low, even though she's only 28 years old. It's just that comfort and security of a man just decreases and decreases her sex drive, which is not a bad thing. It's just how healthy women regulate. They don't need it all the time. Unhealthy, unstable women, their sex drive all high all the time. But really, stable women, because how our sex drive has evolved is we seek men for protection. The moment we are protected, we don't need to keep seeking men and seeking that it decreases. So ours decreases with comfort, ease, attachment. Theirs never decreases. I'll meet men who are like 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. I had a client who had prostate cancer and still went out and bought a pump so he could get it up, so he could go out. And I was like, just give up. And he's like, no, you got to keep trying. And I was just like, give up, take a break. Refused. And I thought that they would decrease with age. They don't decrease. And it literally doesn't decrease. I'm actually stunned when I speak to these men who are in their 60s or 50s, late 50s, and they're complaining about lack of, and I'm like, what do you mean lack of sex? Is that supposed to happen? They're like, no, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, the hormones are everywhere. I'm frustrated. I'm angry all the time. So I just realized that it's difficult. It's far more difficult. One thing about, categorizing men that cheat as these dogs and these, but it's more difficult for them to be faithful than it is for us. They've done studies where they put hormones like testosterone on women just for a day. And she would say, oh my God, the entire day, all I could think about was sex. So we're built differently. We are designed so differently. So to expect the same laws and rules for both of us doesn't make any sense. So that's why I can understand why it's difficult for them to be monogamous. Far more than it is for us, because our hormones are just not the same balance. Now they're going to go crazy. The girls will be like, oh, she's misogynist. It's just the fact of human nature. So that's why I think that I would say that it's far more difficult for men, because to get a woman who will keep your sex drive for the rest of your life, she's going to have to be super promiscuous, because a healthy woman, it decreases with each age. And I can understand why there's an option of marrying more than one. I can see why that happens. I've even met wives that are like, you know what, I wish he would just find someone else and leave me alone, because I don't have a drive. I have 3 kids to worry about. I don't have a time to be sitting there trying to, connect with him. So I can totally now understand why that rule was put in place.
And you think if this rule is not in other society, it's just that the cheating is the other solution?
This is what I hate about Western mentality, is that they'll judge Muslim men for having 2 or 3 wives, while their husband has 3 or 4 mistresses on porn sites all night and has endless escorts that they visit all the time. So you think a man actually starting a family and providing and giving a home to another woman is so disgraceful, but your man meeting another woman in a club and having sex with her that night and coming home to you with the stains of her still on his shirt is okay. That's fine, that's liberal, that's amazing. But actually having dignity and providing a shelter and home and security for other women, that's where you draw the line. But having flings or going to Thailand with a bunch of women while you're married is fine. So that's why
I don't think it's fine. I think they punish
but they stick
their
around.
husband much more in Europe. I mean, a woman wouldn't stand anybody cheating on her.
But they do.
it happens.
Yeah,
of course,
they stand just as much.
But they will. I think
the thing is they will react to it a lot more, but they still stay. All it does is it makes them more miserable together.
I don't think they will stay.
They do stay.
I think a conservative woman, she will stay.
But
she will know that her husband is cheating.
Yeah.
I don't want to generalize.
Yeah.
But she's more likely to accept it. Than a Western woman. I just want to give justice to both.
I would say that they're more likely to. The most common reason cited for divorce in the Western world is financial reasons, not infidelity. So what I think is that the more financially secure a woman is in the West, the more likely she is to leave after infidelity. But if she's not financially secure, she'll stay. And I think that's the underlying thread is financial security. So that's what I think that they react same. And I think Eastern women will react too. Like I would react too. Like I would obviously kill him too. But I can understand it. I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I can't understand it and it's so shocking. It's just that having this insight in this work, you realize that they are designed so differently. And
why do women would cheat?
It's like I said before, if the man is weak. They literally, here's what the criteria that I see with women that cheat. There's usually 4 things that they cheat. Firstly, they came from a household where they didn't see a loving parents, usually without a father. If you don't grow up seeing mothers respect like a father, you don't realize men are a safe space. You don't realize you're supposed to be respectful, you're supposed to be loyal, you're supposed to do that. So have a real look at how her mother and father's relationship was. The more broken it is, the more likely she is to be unfaithful, particularly if she has no relationship with her father. Women without fathers in their life are always craving some masculine energy. So when they're in relationships, if they're not fully happy, instead of just leaving, they'll find another one to back because they can't be without that masculine energy. So I would say the first criteria is their father. Second criteria, I'd say that women that cheat is women that don't work. Women without work, firstly, they have more idle time. Secondly, they don't have the luxury of selecting people that they love and adore and just that criteria. What they do is think, okay, he can pay my bills, he can help me with the house, blah, blah, blah. So they select on those bases more than attraction. I'll meet women without jobs and, without things. They don't even know what they're attracted to. They just know that, oh, he's got this car and he's got this house. Whereas when you see women like Madonna and Mariah Carey with endless money, they'll marry a cute backup dancer or a young, sexy little trainer or whatever it is because they've got the luxury of choosing who they're attracted to. So women without work will compromise attraction to focus on lifestyle. The problem with that is in the long run, lack of attraction leads to lack of loyalty. So I'd say if she's not working, that's another sign that she's likely to be unfaithful. But the third thing, and I think is the biggest thing, is if the man is very naive and very easy to manipulate. If he's the type of man that just believes whenever you come home, there's nothing to worry about, lets you go, like you've stopped kissing him, touching him, he doesn't think anything of it, you've clearly still in touch with an ex and he doesn't think anything of it. If he's that naive man with no protective jealousy, she's unlikely to stay faithful. And I'd say the fourth thing is, was she unfaithful in the past? I meet so many men that will meet a woman that was in a relationship, meet a woman who's just in the midst of a divorce, meet a relationship where she's in a relationship, marry her and think she's going to be faithful to him. The moment you've selected her while she's cheating on someone, she already knows you're naive. She already knows you're stupid. She already knows that you're this guy that thinks you're going to be the savior and you're this special guy and you've changed the world. She already sees you as a less intelligent man. So that automatically places you in an environment and in a category of men she can't truly respect, and you'll get the exact same treatment. So I would say those four things. That's
good enough. Why do men cheat other than sex?
Outside of sex, it would be lack of appreciation. That's the only thing. Some outside of sex. Sex is the main one. Main thing is that it's just how they are designed. But in terms of the secondary aspect, I would say lack of appreciation. I find that particularly in Dubai, because the men here in Dubai, I have to give them credit where credit's due, because they get a lot of stick, like, oh, they're these weak guys. But one thing they do really well is they provide a good life for their women. I see women with cooks, maids, help around the house. They don't have to ask for anything. The life that men in Dubai give their women, I cannot say I can't criticize. So they definitely do their part when it comes to being a man and a husband. The lack of appreciation I see from the women is unheard of. They will always find something to complain about. They'll always think that this is just normal to have cooks and maid. And even if the guy just wants a homemade meal from her, or even if he wants her to just make him a cup of coffee, or even if he just wants some affection from her, she makes it out like why should she? Like, that's impossible. Like, sorry, that's not. So I've seen a lot of times where the men have really created a really easy, soft life for the woman. And instead of becoming grateful, she becomes entitled and hostile. And as a result, they feel underappreciated, and that they do look for, because they're ego driven, so they need that appreciation, which I understand. I do genuinely understand those environments.
They need that respect.
Everybody, yeah, it's human. Because people think, oh, you should just do it anyway. You shouldn't think about the gratitude. But that's not how humans are designed. Even when you love your kids and look after your kids, you would hope that they respect you in return and love you in return. Everything is transactional. So, of course, they're going to expect appreciation in return.
But also, I will add for why men cheat. It's also because it's easier for them in their head, in the way they are raised as well, which is... It's not linked to cheating. In the men's head, it's not cheating. For them, cheating is like
leaving their wife.
Leaving their wife or leaving the family. Because the family for them is the main thing.
Yeah.
But cheating, as you said, is a thing. It's a side thing.
It's an activity.
You know? For a woman, it is cheating.
Yeah.
You know? It's giving her body and cheating. It's actually because it's more emotional as well. Yeah,
I would say, look, I don't think, in my experience, it's not that women, when they cheat on their husband, they're in love with the other man. I've met women who are not in love with the other man. They're just definitely not in love with their husband.
Definitely. So they are disconnected emotionally.
To him.
The man can still be emotionally connected with the woman and still cheat on her
very annoying.
Physically.
Which is very annoying, because one thing with women, the more attracted and in love they are with a man, they become blind to other men. They genuinely don't know what other men, how to find other men attractive. I've met women saying, I wish I could like another man or see another man. I just can't. I'm so in love with this stupid guy that I've become so loyal. So I do think loyalty is a natural byproduct of attraction and love. But when they don't have that, they can seek elsewhere. So that's why I say it's far more of a deal breaker when a woman cheats than when a man cheats, because in my experience, when a woman cheats on a man and he forgives her, she does it again without fail, but she loses attraction for him for forgiving her. She actually punishes him for forgiving her. In the moment, she might appreciate it, but in the long run, she'll just think, well, why? Like, why? And why did you just... And a lot of men, so many men forgive cheating that they don't admit, more than you'd realize. I think more men forgive cheating than women.
Really?
Far more men forgive it. They do, because the difference between women that go through cheating is they'll tell their friends and family, and everyone will be like, leave him, blah, blah, blah. Men, when they get cheated on, don't tell anybody. They don't say anything. So they're only left with her version of story, her version of events. So she can just say, it was this, it was that, and that's all they'll believe. Whereas if you say to a woman, oh, my man cheated on me, he's like, oh, my husband did that too, it's because of this. So they get so much more support in the process than men. So they're left with just one version of the truth, which is her version. And they know that kids will always follow mums. Regardless, if you're going to break up with a woman, you know that the kids are, something about kids, but they're just so brainwashed by mums. Even if you have equal custody, whatever, their loyalty goes with mum. So they know that they won't just lose her, they'll lose the whole unit. Whereas for women, they're like, I'm leaving you, and I'm taking the kids with me, and they're going to be brainwashed to hate you forever. We know we have that power over children.
Take half of your money as well.
Half of your money, and we take all of your kids. So it's that there's a complete lack of power when a woman cheats on you that you're left with. You're going to lose the kids because they're still going to side with her. She's still going to be able to brainwash them. You're going to lose your everything, so you might as well just forgive it. And that's why a lot of them forgive it.
That's a good point.
I promise you,
it's very hard for a man to forgive as well. I mean, it's as I told you, it's like for a man, it's much bigger. It's I'm not justifying cheating for a man or a woman, but for a man, it's a huge thing because it's linked to his family as well, and why he believes that his way of cheating is like a dog humping a doll, you know.
It's not serious.
It's just I just want to
I do agree, but the key to the men that react to cheating is they have gaira, they have that protective jealousy. A lot of, and I'm so sorry that my experience is more Western, so I do apologize to your audience. A lot of Western men don't have gaira. They have zero gaira. They have no protective jealousy. There's
jealousy.
They don't have it, and so much so that I see Western men sometimes asking their woman to go be with another another man so they can watch and stuff like that. They don't have that protective jealousy, and because they don't have it, they don't react to cheating the same way that Eastern men do, which is a shame, because protective jealousy is part of masculinity. You need it. Yeah, you need to be able to kill the man that cheats on them, but they will actually pay the man to go be with their wife. It's really strange.
Sadia,
it's been a nightmare, hasn't it?
It's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I wish we've done it like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but we've still got time.
Yeah.
In 4 years' time from now, hopefully we'll still have our platforms and it'll still be growing.
We'll do it again.
Inshallah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I don't know. I wrote so many things.
We'll go
I
through.
left it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully you will recover from all this.
Inshallah.
We don't want to hate each other.
Yeah.
And we don't want to, like, the hardest damage, and when you damage somebody in his we say in his bread, that's the hardest part.
And as a woman, the hardest part is slander, like, because it's just once it's out there, it's just done. There is no coming back from it. So unfortunately, what can you do?
You will recover.
Inshallah.
You're strong. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.